Welcome to Abuse Exposed, a podcast about the secret of abuse. Each episode, we deliver intriguing Christian and personal experiences on abuse and how to overcome it. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional mental or medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified mental health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical or mental condition. Now, here's your host, live from Texas, ISpeakMotive.
Hello. This is ISpeakMotive. I'm so excited to be with you guys today at the Abuse Exposed podcast, where we're breaking stereotypes of abuse one day at a time, as well as exposing the pain of abuse and recovering, becoming from victims to survivors to thrivers. I'm so excited that you guys are here today. We started a new series or a segment, whatever you want to call it, called the Quote of the Day. So it's just random quotes that I see that are very powerful, that can assist us, that can give us education on our journey. Because you know what? All of us are learning. You're learning. I'm learning. So it's a great way to have a community while we're here, by just discussing things. So we love the comments and things that you all leave for us. Now, the quote of the day is, "She's strong, but she's exhausted," by R.H. Sin. She's strong, but she's exhausted. So a lot of times we feel so weak, like we can't do anything. And, to fight every day in survival mode to survive is exhausting. So you may wonder why. No matter how long I sleep, no matter how much melatonin I take, no matter what, I'm still tired. I still can barely do laundry. I can barely go to the restroom. I can barely cook. I can barely take a bath. I can barely do this. I can barely do that. That's because you've been fighting so long, and that's the result of it. You're physically, spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, financially drained. And your soul is exhausted from all that pain. So it's not that you're lazy. It's that you've been fighting for years, or how long you've been in that abusive relationship. We can't be so hard on ourselves. That's why that self-love comes into play. And that also comes into play when we're leaving those abusive relationships. We have to realize that it's going to take time to stop feeling exhausted. It really takes one day at a time, because still after leaving, you're still in survival mode, because you're making sure, okay, am I financially okay? Because sometimes for us, that's the biggest reason why that we stay, is that financially we can't afford to. We have children. We can't afford to go. It's just too much. Or by ourselves, we would be homeless. We don't have family that would take us in, or we don't want that burden to be on other family members. So when we finally transition to get out of that violent place, we're still in survival mode to make sure we don't have to go back and have that as an option. So we're still fighting. Then you have the negative self-talk, the anxiety, and then, as you, and the crazy thing about leaving abusive relationships is a good and a bad thing all at once, depending on how you take it. Because once you out of that situation, it seems like all the flashbacks and everything comes to fruition to you, and you're like, wow, it was way worse than I thought, because you have clarity. You're in a state of You're in a peaceful environment, not in a negative environment anymore. So it's coming to you of how much freedom you lost, how much of your identity you lost, how much self-care you didn't take care of yourself when you're finally out of it. It slams you, it hits you in the face. And then we have those triggers, okay, that seem to be more flamboyant than they were previously. I can say for myself, when I exited the abusive relationship with my parents, when I went to work, if I was just, working, just doing my normal thing, and somebody just said, "Oh, hey, can you do this?" And it was just all quiet in there, I would jump. And they were like, "Are you okay?" But I was always in such a reactive state. And I was already, programmed that if something's out of the ordinary, if something's not on a particular schedule, it results in pain. Therefore, fear, So I was reacting, even though I was out. And that's exhausting. And then when you go to negative self-talk, "Oh, I have this on. What do they think of me? They'll think that I don't care about myself, or they'll think I'm messy, or they'll think this, or they'll think that. If I don't say hi to them, or they didn't hear me say hi, they'll think that I'm stuck up, and I don't want them to think that I'm stuck up. I want them to think that I'm down to earth." And you have all this negative self-talk and doubting yourself and feeling guilty, and people aren't even thinking about you in a negative way, but you have this negativity within you because that abuser put that within your system. And that became a part of the false identity that they tried to present to you. Now you're trying to figure out who you are. Or you feel completely lost, or you feel paralyzed. Like for the longest, I would sit on the sofa. Everything had to be, because it would really disrupt my sanity. If I did not do anything, everything on a schedule, I had to get up the same time in the morning. If I got up a little later, I'm freaking out and it stressed me out. And then my cortisol level got higher, had anxiety. And then like how when I get really anxious, I have shortness of breath and start having panic attacks, as well as my stomach starts, messing up, gets disrupted, until I actually get to work on time. So if I get up a little later, it could be 2 minutes later, until I get to work, I'm in a state of severe anxiety because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I'm late? They're going to think that I'm not a dedicated worker. They're going to think I'm not committed. If they think I'm not committed, then they're going to fire me. If they fire me, where, will we be financially, So it goes all the way to that. So until I actually get there, that anxiety does not end because of that. And that's only just being a few minutes, waking up a few minutes later. It could be 3 or 2. I didn't wake up on the exact time. Then going to work. It was an unexpected meeting that makes me nervous because I don't know what it is. And if I don't know what it is, I don't know what to expect. So I am fearful until the meeting is complete. And then I realize, oh, it wasn't that bad. They were saying something positive. And then I'm finally relieved after it occurs. Because I'm still in that reactive state. Like, hold up, what's going to happen? Severely hypervigilant, as what we were talking about in previous episodes. And so that's why we're exhausted in survival mode every day, not only during the abusive relationship, trying to see, track people's different behaviors, hand motions, level of voice tone, facial expressions, how things are placed around the house, different objects that are in or out of the house. You are trying to, track to see, okay, oh, this is out of the ordinary. This may cause pain. So when you get out of the abusive relationship, you're constantly on a million, trying to prevent accidents from happening in the future, trying to prevent pain in the future. And so therefore you're exhausted and you're paralyzed. And you're like, I can't do anything else. I can't. It took me the longest to go to the gym, because it was something out of the ordinary. Because again, I had to be on the schedule for my sanity, because anything different, I was like, how am I going to fit the gym in? Because if I fit the gym in and then I mess something else up, then something's horrible is going to happen. I'm not going to get enough sleep, and I'm not going to get enough sleep. I'm going to end up being late. I'm going to be fired from my job, and then we'll be homeless. It goes from a simple thing to a false narrative, because we lived in a state of fear so long, and we're trying to create strategic game plans in order to not experience pain. We're just exhausted, just purely exhausted. But remember, you're strong. You're strong during that abusive relationship, and you are strong after. It just takes us time. In every part of this process, it takes time. And every day it gets stronger. In the beginning of the disconnect from my abusive parents and that no contact situation, it goes in levels. So I'm going to tell you the beginning. So I left my abusive parents' house saying, I can't do this anymore. This is becoming too much. You guys aren't having empathy, no remorse, and not taking accountability for the pain that you caused around the years. You're just not taking accountability. You don't want to go to therapy for it. I've been speaking to you guys about this for years. It's not happening. And then you just plain don't have remorse or even not even acknowledgement of the pain that was caused. And then you want to introduce more pain in my adult life at the age of 25, because I would be a prisoner. And it was a point in my life, and this is something very personal to me. This is how trapped I felt. I was like, the only way I'll ever get my freedom is if my parents pass away. I said, if I can only do what they say up until they pass away, they'll be proud of me and I can still have a relationship. But in order for me to finally be free and be who I am, they have to. And then I can finally live my life. That's where I was. Or it's like, because if I decided to finally do what I want to do, then I knew for a fact I wouldn't have the relationship, because they wouldn't be proud of me. They wouldn't love me. They'll try to sabotage, if I truly told what I wanted to be, they'll continue to try to, destroy me at any fashion. And so I was like, that's the only way. And that's a sad way to feel, that the only way that you'll get freedom, if you're at that point where the only freedom that you feel like the only way you'll get freedom from your abuser is that they have to pass away for you to finally be free and not feel imprisoned to their expectations, to their pain, to their fear, to their control, that's a good indicator that you need to leave that relationship. Because you can't live a false life in order to receive conditional love. And that's not even love, to be honest, but we're just going to say it for the phrase. You're doing all of this, sacrificing your whole life to receive conditional love. never getting to know who you are, getting deeper and deeper into the web of what they think instead of who you are.